Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Wilson here with my good friend and co-host Adrian Wright, and this is The Supernatural and Beyond. Given the days and times we're living in, the question comes up quite often in conversation, are these the end times? Is it Judgment Day? The wrath of God? Well, we here at The Supernatural and Beyond believe it's all of the above.
Yes.
We are definitely in a time and a season where prophetic events are playing out on our devices. I mean, we can look at it on our phones, we can look at it on our computers, we can just turn on the news and hear it unfolding. And so we've been looking at some of those signs, and I want to go to one place in particular.
Yeah.
In the Hebrew text, in Joel, it says that, and I'm going to read it here just so that I get it right, and it shall come to pass afterwards, that's all these signs and things that are going on, that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. That's all flesh. I'm just giving you that dramatic pause there.
Yes.
And your sons and your daughters, that's the new generation, or should I say the next generation. Mm-hmm. Some say that the next generation is kind of weak and tired. I don't believe so. I believe they're the most wide awake group of individual that I've ever seen in my time here on the planet.
Or that they will be the most awake generation.
Or
if they're not there yet,
if they're not there, they will be.
They will be.
So all you parents that are concerned about your kids, don't be that concerned. I believe there's going to be tremendous turnaround. Finishing it up, your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions.
Right. And if you're on the border like me, you get both. You get dreams and you get visions. So I like that. I have dreams sometimes, and I have open visions, and it's very interesting. But this is a promise. You know, this will happen. All flesh will have the Spirit of the living God poured out. Your sons, your daughters will prophesy. But it's for those who believe. And it's for those who trust. And it's for those that have that relationship. But then the thing that gets you too is all flesh. So like all flesh will have it. They will get that understanding, and then they'll have a choice. Do I believe? Do I trust? Do I grow?
Uh-huh.
It's part of an end time promise. It's part of an end time harvest. This is the beginning, I believe, of what would cause the end time harvest. Because when we're talking about what the Messiah said about the end times, you know, like the false prophets, the wars, the rumors of wars, right? And he says, do not fear and do not panic, because these things will happen. It's the beginning of the end times. It's those birth pains. And he says this stuff is destined to happen. And what I like about the Passion Translation, it says, the breaking apart of the world systems.
Hey, interesting. Drain the swamp, maybe?
Draining the swamp, the world systems, the corruption in the world, like the system of the beast that's trying to be set up. The world system will be broken. And these things are destined to happen. But the end is not yet near. It's like these times and these seasons. And what I like about that is the Messiah is giving us hope. He's telling us some of these things are going to happen, but get ready. And then we look at what it says in Joel about after these things, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it also says after the outpouring of the Spirit, there'll be wonders in the sky and on earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. And then it talks about the sun will turn to darkness and the moon will turn to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord. So that day of the Lord is like the judgment day, is like the coming of the Messiah, you know, the second coming.
Second coming. And going back to those things that you were talking about, blood and fire and so forth.
Yeah.
If we look in Exodus,
yes.
I like to refer to it as the Passover,
Mm-hmm.
because that was a seminal event that repeated itself twice.
Yes.
Once when the children of Israel were coming out of Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
and with all the plagues that went along with that.
Yes.
There were 10 plagues, just so that you know.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there are going to be 10 different types of calamities and catastrophes that are going to befall man. Now, what's interesting, if you skip ahead to Revelation,
Yes.
from that event, the same types of plagues are going to hit the earth again.
Right.
It's amazing how we've been given such an opportunity to know the times and the seasons we are in so that we can adequately prepare for them.
Right.
And it's not just for us to kind of like hunker down in a bunker somewhere.
Yeah.
Say that fast 5 times.
Yeah.
It's so that we can give hope to people, because like you said, he's going to pour his spirit on
All flesh.
all, like back in the Garden of Eden again. We are in the presence of the Creator himself, and he's instructing us personally.
Yeah.
Not this group over here, not that group over there. Because that's a rabbit trail I didn't want to go down.
Right.
What I was about to say is, in a lot of different places where they don't even acknowledge Yahweh God Elohim, people are starting to acknowledge Yahweh God Elohim
Yes.
in those countries under the penalty of death.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of countries. You have the Middle East, you have in Asia, where they're being persecuted. And that was another thing that the Messiah was talking about the end times. He said that there will be persecutions, right? Other nations will hate you because of the name of the Messiah. They'll hate you because of Jesus, because of Yeshua, right? And then there'll even be a great falling away, right? So like there'll be people that have been so-called Christians or so-called believers that will lose heart because they don't have that true connection. And they will fall away from following the ways of the Messiah, and they'll follow the ways of the world. And that great falling away too, there will be lying prophets. So there's the false prophets coming back. It comes back to the false prophets, the false deceptions, the lies. And if you look at that, that's all the system of the beast. That's the system of the Antichrist, because the Antichrist is tied to Satan, the father of lies, the fathers of deception, the one that came to lie, steal, kill, and destroy. And that's the end time goal. But the Messiah's end time goal is that all flesh receives that power. All flesh receives that communication with God. And that the Messiah wants to open the realm of heaven's kingdom on the earth. And so when we come there, there's going to be an end time harvest where the good news will be proclaimed throughout the earth, right? And they'll be accompanied by the signs, the wonders, the miracles, because they're preaching the truth. And it'll demonstrate the reality of God. And after this, the end will come. And that's what I like about the Messiah, is he gives us the hope, and he tells us, do not fear, do not worry. These things will happen, but there will come a great harvest where the realm of the kingdom will be advanced to the ends of the earth.
That's I like that. I like that. And for those of us who've taken the time to study and to kind of go ahead and look as far as we can, because the Creator is not going to give away his game plan.
No.
He's going to give it to us a little at a time, individually and collectively.
Yeah.
And I want to just kind of backtrack just a bit about the false prophets.
Right.
Now, again, with that term fake news.
Fake news.
Just with information being put out there, they'll say one thing one day, and in the same newscast, they'll say, well, hey, wait a minute, that wasn't altogether true. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a couple days later, they'll kind of veer off of that.
Veer off
of that story and pull up another story.
And one of the things that comes to mind right off the bat is the fact that there's just been, again, so much information out there. And we all know about different news outlets, different social media outlets, and how all of that now is being controlled by algorithms.
Right.
AI. Artificial intelligence.
Right.
So that they can predictively generate whatever it is they want to get out there. I mean, if you want to post on Facebook and you want to get a lot of hits and so forth and
You
so
got to do
on.
the algorithms.
Yeah, the algorithms say, okay, well, they're doing this amount of information, so we need to put them at the top as opposed to the bottom. A lot of the New York Stock Exchange, algorithms. You can even hear it on TV, how different companies are using, insurance companies are using algorithms in order to predict or give you a better rate. And that's
Right.
pretty much basically the bottom line.
Right.
You want to get a better rate, more bang for your buck. So you're going to be following these false prophets. So, back in the old days, it was some guy in, some clothes that would come through with the stick and say, whoa, 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 or hey, 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 or yay, yay, yay. Now it's simply, all you have to do is turn on the TV
Or go to social media.
or social media,
Yeah.
and it's already being put out there for you.
Yeah. And telling you what to think, telling you what to do, telling you what to believe. And you find like an agenda. And we've talked in the last season 1, like a year ago, we were talking about the Luciferians and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And what's funny is to find out how the Luciferians and the cabal and how those people, that New World Order, sits behind those media outlets and sits behind the social media stuff. And it's like they're pulling their strings, they're pulling our strings, they're putting out the fear tactics. And that's one thing that I like about what the Messiah said. He said, do not fear and do not panic. And that's one of the things that helps me to identify for myself the false news or the false prophet. Like, is there fear behind this? Like, are they trying to make me afraid? Are they trying to make me panic? Because when that fear comes out and when that panic comes out, I know that that's not from the Messiah, because he says, do not fear and do not panic.
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. A number of years ago, I was told that I was not to watch the news anymore because I would listen and say, hey, that's not altogether accurate,
Right.
And I start yelling at the TV, and I was specifically told, do not watch the news.
Yeah.
Since then, because I have not watched the news, I have not been indoctrinated, I have not been programmed, as in the Matrix, I have been unplugged from the constant influx of information that goes on. And even with this current news cycle, with all of the different things happening around the world, again, interesting story. When all of this broke out, my job told me that I will work in the office 1 week, I will work at home for a week.
Right.
So I was on the week from the office, and I got a text from my foreman, and my foreman said, hey, don't come into work. And I'm like, what do you mean don't come into work? And he said, yeah, with all the rioting and civil unrest, we're just not going to take a chance.
Right.
And I was like, what riots? You
Yeah.
know? And because I'm not plugged into the system, I had no idea what was going on. But as soon as I turned on the TV, it was just like, oh man, nothing has changed. They just changed the script. Now we got these people out in the street doing so forth and so on. So take a break from your news feeds.
Right.
Take a break from your Facebook posts that say, hey, what about this and what about that? If it has anything to do with coronavirus or politics or this political party or that political, I just zoom right
This
by it.
political movement or that
Yeah,
political movement.
I move right by it because it's not what I need to keep me dialed in to the truth.
And that's very good what you brought up, because the good news is the truth. And like I'm with you. Like, I don't like tuning in to this channel or that channel to find out what's going on here, what's going on there, because I like tuning in to see what the Messiah is saying, the Creator's saying. And we talked in other videos about, like, speaking in an unknown language to communicate.
There we go.
And get our directions for the day.
Right.
Or, as I like to say, my download. And it's like, if I waste time on social media or I waste time watching this story or that story, I miss that connection. And there's a spirit of fear. And I feel like we've lost trust with the media outlets, because remember when reality TV came out back in the day, when they had like the OC, or they had like these other shows, and it was The Hills or whatever, and it's like these people are doing this, and you're like, is this show real? Is this show not real? And it's the reality TV show, right?
Right.
And I feel like the news media outlets saw what happened, and they're like, we're going to make money, and we're going to make the news like reality TV news. And I feel like some news agencies get busted trying to shoot this video, and some get busted with that. But it's like, what does the Messiah say? What does he say about the end times? And what does he want us to do in those end times? And what will be the sign of those end times? So the good news is that the good news of the Messiah will go to the ends of the earth, and his spirit will be poured out on all flesh, and your sons and daughters will prophesy, your old men will dream dreams, your young men will see visions, and then whoever calls on the name of the Messiah will be saved and will be delivered. So that's the key right there.
Well, that's a pretty rock solid guarantee.
Yeah.
And had an experience, got my morning cup of coffee. A gentleman came in, we got into a conversation, and he was a Hindu.
Mm-hmm.
I am a believer in the creator of heaven and earth.
Right.
We started talking, we started comparing notes, and I said, so you believe in this pantheon of gods. Who is the chief god?
Yeah.
You know, and he kind of gave me a nice little softball answer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know, that's a lot to be betting your eternity on.
Yeah.
You know, because we agreed on so many different points. And even the false gods will tell you that there is a chief God.
Yeah.
Yahweh, God,
Yeah.
Elohim.
Yeah, they always have a chief god.
Yeah, so we're there, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the end times. Now it's time for us to make that decision.
Yeah, that decision's an important decision. And I'm glad that you guys follow us here on the Supernatural and Beyond. Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel and leave a like or subscribe down below and leave a comment. We'll reply to you, and we'll see you next time on the Supernatural and Beyond.